Hello, it's me, Dr. Savita. In continuation with the topics on corrosion and metal finishing, I am now discussing on my second video. Next topic, that is corrosion control. Right. So we have discussed already on corrosion types, reactions, and factors affecting. Now it is the corrosion control. Right. So there are many methods of corrosion control of corrosion. Syllabus, VTU syllabus. There are these are the methods which are been explained in. Which is included. Right. So some of the methods are. See, one thing is uh, to control corrosion. We cannot actually eliminate corrosion. Okay. Proper design and proper selection will control the corrosion to a most extent. Proper design means there should not be any two metals directly in contact. There should not be much edges. There should not be much stress in the metal. All these are the proper design. Proper selection of the method is always to choose a metal which has higher reduction potential, so that its ability to undergo oxidation will be less. Okay. Some other methods are, the one of the thing is the metal, if it is exposed to the corrosive environment, it actually undergoes corrosion. So by some method, if you can create a barrier so that the metal will not be actually fully exposed to the environment, you can control the corrosion. You must have seen the painting, right? Painting is also actually creation of a barrier. Artificially you are applying a barrier paint, which separates or isolates the underlying metal, that is base metal, so that the base metal is not exposed to the environment. It acts as a barrier, right? Coating is one method. First one is proper selection and proper design. Second one is coating. In coating we have three types. One is organic coating, inorganic coating, and metal coating. Okay. Organic coating example is painting. Painting is artificially you are creating a barrier. Second one is inorganic coating. Right. In inorganic coating we have two types. One is anodizing, another one is phosphating. Okay. And now next we have metallic coating. Right. Metallic coating means you are coating the base metal with another metal. Right. There also you have two methods. One is galvanization and tinning, and next is cathodic protection. These are some of the methods of prevention. Right. Organic coating, all organic coating, inorganic coating, and metal coating, all three comes under coating. Next you have corrosion inhibitors. Corrosion inhibitors are some chemicals which are added to the corrosive environment, so it will so that it will reduce the reaction or it will stop the corrosion. Right. Next is cathodic protection. We will be discussing all this. Whichever is there in this purple color is in the syllabus, so I will be discussing more on these topics. Right. The first one is anodizing. Anodizing, that comes under inorganic coating. Right. Anodizing, there are certain metals like aluminium, zinc, magnesium, and their alloys. These can be prevented from corrosion by anodizing process. Right. So anodizing is a process wherein the metal is made to undergo corrosion first. Okay. This corrosion, it undergoes corrosion. The outermost layer of the metal gets converted into the corrosion product. Later this corrosion product itself acts as a barrier. Right. Here the outermost layer of the metal is converted into metal oxide, that is the corrosion product. Later this corrosion product itself acts as a barrier. Right. Only those metals which will make a non-porous, stable, uniform coating, only such metals can be prevented or can be controlled by anodizing method. Okay. In the syllabus there is the process of anodizing of aluminium. Right. So in anodizing of aluminium, what is done is the metal anode, we have to, let us assume, we have to control the corrosion of aluminium. So aluminium is dipped, is connected to the anode, and some generally lead is taken, is metal is taken as the cathode. It is dipped in an oxidizing bath because we need to convert the outermost layer of the aluminium to oxide. Therefore, oxidizing bath like sulfuric acid or chromic acid is chromic acid or oxalic acid is taken. Right now, the setup is like this. You have aluminum as anode, some metal, generally lead as cathode. It is connected to the terminals. It is dipped. The electrolyte is the chromic acid or oxalic acid. So a suitable temperature, current density is maintained. With this, what happens is the aluminium undergoes corrosion. It forms aluminium oxide. Aluminium oxide is a corrosion product. Later, this product will completely isolate the underlying metal, right? But there is a problem. The aluminium oxide, what is formed by this process, is porous. Now, if it is porous, what happens? The pores, that small pores, will be the channels for the environment entry, and the corrosion reaction will proceed. Therefore, we need to seal those pores. And for this sealing process, the aluminium oxide, that is after galvanizing, the article is taken out and then it is dipped in hot water. When it is dipped in hot water, it absorbs the water of hydration and it forms aluminium oxide. Aluminium oxide, that is one water molecule, water of hydration is taken, and then it forms aluminium, hydrated aluminium oxide, which is larger in volume, and all the pores will be sealed out. Okay, it becomes a non-porous coating, uniform coating. Therefore, it acts as a perfect barrier which stops or cuts off the attack of environment over the metal. Right, these are some of the examples of anodized aluminum. Anodized aluminum, suppose if you want an article, aluminum article, which is to be colored, then the anodized article is, then it can be treated with the dyes so that it will give a colorful output. Okay, you can see the anodized articles, soap boxes, tiffin carriers, window frames, etc. These are some of the products of anodized or examples of anodized aluminum. Okay, the third method of coating, one is organic, that is painting. Inorganic is anodizing. Now, third method is metal coating, right? So you have a base metal. Base metal means metal which you have to protect, right? You are coating that with another metal, right? Now, the another metal will be completely isolating the base metal, right? Our intention is to safeguard the base metal. The coated metal has some reduction potential, right? So if the coated metal is anodic with respect to the base metal, then such a type of coating is called as anodic metal coating. Okay, one of the example is galvanizing. Galvanizing is a process wherein the base metal zinc, I mean base metal iron or steel is safeguarded by coating it with zinc. Right now, is a process of the base metal coated with the zinc metal. Right now, base metal is iron. Iron has to be safeguarded. Therefore, it is covered by zinc metal. Okay, this process is called as galvanizing. Now, let us discuss on the process of galvanizing. Right now, if you, let us assume we have a iron block. We need to this iron block has to be coated with the zinc. Right now, before coating, we need to ensure that it is clean, the surface is clean, because if it is not clean, if there are any impurities, later these impurities will be causing pitting corrosion. We have discussed this, right? Therefore, it has to be cleaned properly. Right now, what are the types of impurity that can be present? The impurities can be like dust particles may be on that. There may be some oil or grease impurities. There may be some pre-existing rust. Right now, all this has to be removed. Now, dust and sand particles, all those things can be removed by just water wash or air blow. Right, but we cannot remove the grease particles or pre-existing rust by just washing. Right, for this we need to first go through certain steps. Right, the first one is you need to dip it in organic solvent. When you dip it in organic solvent, what happens is the grease will dissolve. Right, see, grease or oil, it will dissolve in organic solvent. So now you dip it in organic solvent. See, it is shown here. After it is dipped in organic solvent, there will be organic solvents sticking on the whatever block we have to iron thing what you have to galvanize, right? Now we need to remove the organic solvent also, because that is also a chemical, right? So for that what we can do, we have to dip it in water, right? When you dip it in water, all the organic solvents will be dissolved in water, so you get a clean metal block, right? Now the second first type is dust that you have removed by just water wash or air blow. Second type of impurity is organic, that is grease, that you have removed by dipping in organic solvent. The third is pre-existing rust. Now how to remove the pre-existing rust? That you can remove by dipping in sulfuric acid, right? So you have to take this cleaned article, you have to dip it in sulfuric acid for around 10 minutes, which is maintained at 80 degrees, and this process is called as pickling process, right? So now it is kept in sulfuric acid for around 10 to 15 minutes, and it is again taken out. When it is taken out, again sulfuric acid will be there, acid impurities will be there sticking on the block. It has to be again cleaned with water, so it is dipped in water, taken out, and again it is air dried, so that there is no moisture present on the block, right? Next is, we need to coat it with the zinc. Before coating it to zinc, we need to ensure that zinc properly sticks on the metal surface, right? If there is any air gap, again pitting corrosion will take place, right? Differential aeration corrosion also will take place. Therefore we need to ensure that it is completely sticking on the metal surface. For this we need to dip it in a flux. Okay, flux material, that is ammonium chloride and zinc chloride is taken, or that mixture is taken, and the article after air dried, it is mixed with it is dipped in flux and it is taken out, right? It improves the adhesion property, that is adhering property of zinc, right? After it is taken out, now it is ready to be coated with the zinc, right? How to coat it with zinc? You take molten zinc. Molten zinc means zinc is which is maintained at 450 to 470 degrees C, which is in the molten state. Now the article, the cleaned article, it has to be air dried. It should be completely moisture free. After dipping it in the flux, you need to not wash in water, because we need the flux layer, right? After it is dipped in flux layer, it is dipped in molten zinc. Okay, this is called hot dipping process, because hot zinc is taken and the article is dipped. After it is taken out from the zinc, there are chances that at some places the coating may be thickness may vary, right? To make a even thickness, you need to pass it through rollers. Okay, now it is passed through rollers. See, when it passes through rollers, the excess zinc whatever is present, it will be removed, or it will be levelized. Okay, then finally we get the galvanized article, right? So advantages of galvanizing is it is exclusively used to protect iron from corrosion, right? Examples you must have seen: the fencing wires, initially the bolts are nails. Generally the nails what we were seeing made up of iron were undergoing corrosion very fast. Nowadays you can see the nuts, screws and all somewhat silvery in color. They generally don't undergo corrosion. Those are all galvanized articles. Okay, so these are some of the advantages. The main advantages is suppose if iron is exposed, the zinc layer will be undergoing corrosion, because it is anodic with respect to the base metal. Okay, application: it is safer than tinning. Tinning is a process wherein tin is coated over iron. Okay, that is an example for cathodic metal coating, because tin is cathodic with respect to the iron. Okay, it is safer than tinning, because even if when the zinc coating is slightly ruptured at certain areas, it will be exposing the base metal, which is cathodic with respect to the zinc. Therefore zinc will be undergoing corrosion, and then also it will safeguard the base metal, that is iron. Okay, now next method is cathodic protection, right? Now cathodic protection, we know that in a corrosion reaction, anode undergoes corrosion, cathode does not undergo corrosion, right? Now cathode does not undergo corrosion means Suppose you want to safeguard a article, you are sure that it will not undergo corrosion if it is acting as a cathode. So what you can do is you can convert that article into cathode. Okay, for this there are two methods. First one is the principle is completely converting the article into cathode, so that no part of the metal is allowed to act as anode. There are two methods. One is sacrificial anode method, another one is impressed current method. Let us go discuss on the sacrificial anode method. Right now, sacrificial anode method, suppose you are taking an article, uh, if it undergoes corrosion, now what we can do is we can attach that article into another metal which is more reactive than the article. Okay, base metal. Then whatever is the case, the more reactive metal will be acting as the anode and it will be undergoing corrosion, and until that more reactive metal is present, our base metal will be untouched. Therefore, the base metal purpose is to safeguard the base metal, that will be served, whereas the other active metal will be sacrificing itself. Therefore, it is called as sacrificial anode method. See, there's an example. Here, generally sacrificial anode method is used in underground pipes, or see petrol tank stored in steel tank. Okay, underground tanks, right? So now here this is made up of steel. If you just keep it inside the, with the only the steel, the condition, that is moist underground, right, moist soil will be there, it will be attacking the steel. Therefore it will be corroding the steel. Therefore, what you can do is you can attach some magnesium blocks, right? Magnesium blocks will be anodic with respect to steel. Therefore, magnesium will be undergoing corrosion, and until magnesium block is there, the steel will not be attacked because it is cathodic with respect to the magnesium, right? And cathode does not undergo corrosion. Some other example, these are some of the practical example. You can see that there, see here there are blocks of blocks. These are sacrificial anodes which will be actually undergoing corrosion, right? Then we have, see, we have discussed on waterline corrosion, the ships which is immersed, not immersed, half immersed, which is sailing on the water. The one part, half a part will be below the water line and which is exposed to less oxygen. Therefore, that part will be undergoing corrosion. When it undergoes corrosion, what we can do is we can keep some blocks of generally zinc is kept, blocks which is present in the lower part of the hull of a boat. So until this zinc block is there, zinc will be undergoing corrosion. So the main body of the ship or boat will not be undergoing any corrosion because it is cathode. Okay, next one is impressed current method. Now impressed current method is a method wherein the structure or the article which has to be safeguarded is connected to the cathode terminal. Therefore, forcibly it has to act as the cathode, and when it is acting, until it is acting as the cathode, it will not undergo corrosion, right? So this is generally seen in some areas where there is many pipes connected together, water line, water piping or something. In some areas, the all the these articles which is made up of steel or iron, it is connected to the cathode terminal, and one dummy anode is kept, uh, and this is an effective method until the connections are there. Okay, see, it is connected to the DC terminal. The connect the general general anodes taken is carbon. Okay, now application, it is used in many of the water tanks, in buried oil or water pipes, marine pipes, transmission line towers, etc. Okay, so next, in the next video I will be discussing on module 3. Okay, so module 2, all the videos have been uploaded. Next will be module. Thank you.